Hello and good afternoon. This is Thomas Kraus from BlueSky Energy. I'm very happy that you have the time to join us for today's presentation. It's about a rough guy. It's about the Vigos, the toughest storage solution outside. And I'm happy that I'm being able to present that to you today. Just a quick rundown what we are, what we stand for. We are an Austrian-based company. The company is BlueSky Energy. We've got branches in Belgium and US. We focus with our storage solutions, with our battery solutions on the aspects of safety and sustainability. We are specialized in the area of stationary storage solutions. And we focus on plug-and-play overall solutions which are ready to connect, not only dump batteries. And that is probably what you know from our product portfolio. That's the saltwater battery stacks, which we, of course, love as a technology. It's a natural material in there. It's environmentally friendly. And you can see the green stack here. It's about 2.5 kilowatt hours in storage capacity. What's in there are all natural materials. It's harmless. It's not flammable, non-explosive. It's the safest and most environmental friendly battery technology in the world. And what we have on that front is we focus on those aspects very clearly and but also see that besides saltwater, we have got limitations with saltwater, and therefore we introduced our new technology. That's the carbocap technology. And the carbocap technology is also a very safe battery technology, and it has got the attribute that has got a very high power and C rate. And that's a difference to saltwater. What's in there? It's an LTO cell. It has a cyclability of about 20,000 cycles. And the temperature range, and that is very unique, is minus 30 degrees centigrade to 50 degrees centigrade Celsius. And carbocap stands for CO2 reduction. CO2 reduction because with that much cycle stability, it's a very durable product. That product can be used for years and years, about 4 to 5 times as long as comparable lithium products. And therefore we clearly say it's also saving our environment because it's very resources careful and needs much less resources because it's that durable. So far, so good. That's the technology. And of course, we said, look, it needs to be a very safe technology. So when we put that on a flame test, we made the 30 minutes test. We put the battery cells on a grill with fire, and we saw no fire, no explosion, and everything passed. And that is basically according to the UL 1973 standards, that the whole thing has passed accordingly. And we are happy that it's a very safe technology because that's our core of what we are doing here. We only want to do safe battery technologies here. And out of that battery technology, we created 2 products. On the one hand side, it's the Vigos product. That's the outdoor storage guy, which can be put into outdoor. And the second one is the performance battery, Cell 3050. It's basically the indoor brother of the Vigos. And the indoor brother has got the capability of a very much power and also, of course, a very wide temperature range. Those are the unique attributes. And that's now the Vigos. It can be put into the snow as we had it today, in rain, in wet conditions, can be put outside and basically can provide the energy where it's needed. If you're talking about e-charging, if we're talking about a remote areas, if you're talking about telco applications, you can really put that Vigos next to the energy where it's needed without the need of additional housing or sheltering. And that is something which is rather unique. It's of course IP approved. You can see that the protection class IP45, meaning it can rain outside, no problem, it's all water protected. It's a ready-to-connect system. It's a plug-and-play system. There is everything included with electronics, with our BMS, our battery management system. Also, of course, our EMS, energy management system. The Vigos can be connected in the grid parallel operation if we have got a grid. It can, of course, switch onto emergency power if the grid fails to be there. It can run in island operation. And again, something which is rather unique is the black start capability. So if everything is gone and no charge is in the whole microgrid or system, that Vigos has got the opportunity to start from a stretch from zero. We've got a very high charging and discharging capacity. We can go up to 20,000 cycles, cyclability, temperature range, again, minus 30 degrees centigrade to 50 degrees centigrade, wide temperature range. We provide a 10-year warranty, non-flammable, non-explosive, and sustainable. That's where we stand. In case you've got any questions, I'm happy to address them when they come and cross your minds. Just some suggestions or thoughts where the Vigos could be a useful application. On the one hand side, we've got agriculture. Yeah, we've got a lot of farming where, of course, on the one hand side, there's a lot of photovoltaics opportunity for generating energy. On the other hand side, also heavy machines are involved, which have got the need for power. So that's one case. Of course, normal business operations. Certainly critical infrastructure areas like pumping, but also the telco applications. Then, of course, especially coming from a tourism area like Austria, it's the hotels and the restaurants, which are very interesting. And for example, taking hotel as example, we've got the situation in the evening, the kitchen is running and is drawing a lot of power. Then we've got the wellness area, which is drawing a lot of power. And nowadays also, of course, e-charging at the same time is drawing a lot of power. So we've got that peak demand in the early evening, where everybody needs a lot of energy. We've got that peak load. And that is where Vigos can make a very fine attribute and contribution to the infrastructure, smoothing that out and providing the right power to the right areas. And of course, normal housing application for residential or bigger residential housing. It's outdoor power storage. We can use it on-grid, off-grid, three-phase 400 volts. 48 volt is the voltage nominal on the battery side. We can connect it on the AC side with a connection towards the PV inverters. We can connect it on the DC side with DC chargers. Of course, can then also do the AC and DC. We can work with parallel emergency power. And in terms of emergency power, we are switching to the emergency mode within 20 milliseconds. Meaning that the normal electrical appliances won't even realize. So it's a very quick transfer to the island mode, an emergency backup mode. And again, black start capability, I cannot stress that enough because it's something which is very unique and happy to present here. That's how the whole thing looks like in reality. That's in front of our office building. We put one there in the grass. That's a small unit of the Vigos. That's how the whole thing looks inside. With the current version, we are using Victron inverter equipment. Depending on the power you need, we are refurbishing the corresponding equipment. And on the right and left hand side, you see the blades. Those are the carbocap battery blades, which are in there. And of course, every cell, we've got the BMS, the battery is working at its finest. And that example, what you've just shown, is a 48 kilowatt hour system and 48 kilowatt on power. So it's a 1C application. In the Vigos, there are a couple of aspects which are included free of charge because it's coming with a lot of and a very powerful EMS. We can integrate PV up to 100 kilowatt peaks, not C, 100 kilowatt peaks. We can use self-optimization. We can also integrate controlled gas engines, which also produce the energy then. And we can, of course, can also implement the charging from the grid. The scenario could be that we are saying, look, we want to have a certain backup power capability. and we want to have a dedicated defined target state of charge of the battery. And in that sense, it's possible that we can also define time slots when the energy is charged from the grid. What we also can do with our SG-ready capability, we can integrate heat pumps using excess photovoltaic energy to kick off the heat pumps. We can do also e-charging, and then we can also make the dynamic load management for e-charging. What is that? What is a dynamic load charging for e-charging? That basically means when we have got multiple charging system and we have got defined power access, that the whole thing is changing dynamically. So not providing every car the same amount of power, but adjusting according to the grid and also the power the capabilities of the Vigos. So it's a dynamically adjusting charging profile. That's the examples for e-charging systems where we can work with, starting with Schneider to ABL, Webasto, Eaton. So there are a couple of different e-charging systems which we can out of the box plug and play integrate. On our DC side, we've also a couple of opportunities there. I've got one question. Are there also other inverters compatible with your system besides Victron? Yeah, I will come to that. That the current setup with the Vigos is currently with Victron, but of course we're working on other options. But we've got other options also to offer, like when you would say, I go for the battery modules and the BMS on your own, because I am an SMA guy and want to have SMA integration, we are happy to ship to you the battery packages, meaning the battery blades with the electronics and our BMS, and you can integrate then that into your preferred battery inverter. So we are open to that and happy to cater for it. So next one is we can do, of course, the control point shift when we've got a certain grid access. For example, we've got 100 kilowatt. That's our access to the grids. And of course, when we are adding the Vigos and the Vigos also adding 48 of kilowatt on capability, then the whole control point is really increasing from 100 kilowatts to 148 kilowatts, providing us more room in our small microgrid. And of course, we can do the automatic load shifting or load shedding if we have got predefined consumers where we say it's not that important and it's a powerful consumer. There's always the example with the pool pump. Yeah, the pool pump should run once a day to clean up the pool, but it's not of the essence if the pool pump is running at 6 o'clock at night. So therefore, that's one of those consumers which are variable, and you can shut that off immediately in order that we are keeping the load at bay. And that is also something which is at no extra cost included in that Vigos package. So all the stuff what I have been mentioning now, it's included. That's in there already, just to make you aware of that. So load shifting, one aspect. And of course, when we're talking about our off-grid products, of course, we can integrate diesel generators. Of course, we can. That's also part of that license and EMS capability with the Vigos. It's important to note, however, that diesel generators need to have a remote on-off capability and also a frequency stabilization, that the hertz are stabilized. If when the diesel generator is providing these features, we can easily integrate it into our Vigos product and use it then for emergency backup power or off-grid power. And what's also included is the pooling with BlueSky energy storage systems. Yeah, we can use Greenrock system and pool it with Vigos systems. And of course, we can cluster up to 5 different storage systems. What's meant by clustering or pooling the storage systems, basically meaning that we are putting one brain above all the storage units, and then they can work smartly together. Peak load capping using dynamic load management. Of course, load shifting, I mentioned that already. And that is something, for example, where we shave off the peak here for a couple of hours in order to save the money for our customers. We're happy to do so. Load management e-charging stations. Load management for charging infrastructure. For example, we can use RFID cards or charge points that we identify the persons who is charging the energy. We can do then rapid charging or quick charging, and we can do the pooling of the charging station to make them work together. Optimization on grid, off grid, of course, we can use photovoltaics, so wind, CHPs, CHP management and control, of course, we can do. That's basically those systems which are presented below, which can be integrated. Sorry. Okay. So, okay, a couple of use cases. Basically, it's a lot of for urban charging infrastructure, but also for private charging and consumption. Over here, you can see the system sizes. With the Vigos, we're starting with 18 kilowatt hours in storage capacity, and the smallest unit is providing us a power of 24 kilowatts. And then we're scaling up to the biggest one is 96 kilowatt hours and providing us 48 kilowatts. And again, it's the possibility that we can pool those Vigoses together to make them even bigger. There are the recommended retail prices. And as you as partner, if you are a certified partner, you are entitled then to your partner discounts, which is the basis on the retail prices. We always get then the question expensive, and we say no, or it's depending on if somebody is searching for cheap China battery packages, we are the wrong guys overall. You know, it's a very strong EMS package included free of charge. And considering the cycle stability, our leverage cost of storage is around 0.1 to 0.15 euro per kilowatt hour on the cycle stability. So it's a very competitive price for the product you're getting. Yeah, and of course we need to consider also when we deploy the product outside, next to a telco tower, next to a highway e-charging unit, wherever it might be. You know, we are certainly also saving on the room and the space, and no need for additional real estate or building infrastructure. And of course, there arise a couple of revenue models. There's the capping, peak loads, optimization, self-consumption, emergency power, and also the application, of course, using a couple of cycles per day. You know, having wind, having PV, having diesel. Of course, that product can also be used for a couple of cycles a day, having 20,000 cycles available. We made a couple of use cases. Yeah, there is always a use case with a farm. We saw that agriculture is a big thing, and in this case, it's a Belgian chicken farm, and the main thing is that that farm was a little bit remote. So, and they wanted to invest into additional equipment, having the need then for more power capability, for more grid access. In total, it was calculated we need more, around 45 kilowatt more to cater for that. And that would have cost that they are digging the lines and connecting everything, 80,000 to 90,000 euro. That was the bill towards the energy company. Yeah. And in this case, the idea was originally in our old world, we offered a green rock system in order to cater for that load. The green rock is at 148,000. That's the list price again. But now with the Vigos, we don't need such a big system. We can offer a 40 kilowatt hour Vigos system with 40 kilowatt hour. That caters the need what the customer has and is in relation to the grid access, the energy company costs, and also the green rock cost in that case, because power is of the essence, is the cheapest version for the customers, because power is key. and therefore it was the most cost-effective solution for that customer. Second topic, that's basically a landlord having a PV plant, and also the Vigos is improving there as an outdoor storage system. No construction work needed for the building, yeah, no disturbance for renting parties, so you just put it in there and off you go. So very, very good thing. It increased self-consumption of the PV. Yeah, there are also the smart charging of the different charging stations as another or further attribute. And the next one is, again, we're talking about the farm. It's in the forestry in Austria. Yeah. They've got 2 hydro plants with decreasing water levels, unstable supply. So basically, digging cables for the main supply would have cost 155,000 euro. Yeah. And our option was really putting there a Vigos, providing the power, using the alternative energy sources like the water supply and the photovoltaics, and creating out of that a very good local grid. Availability, the smaller versions are available shipping in March 2021, always subject to pre-orders, and the bigger versions coming into effect in May 2021. So again, ready to connect, off-grid system, multiple cycles, safe. That's the main attributes here. Outdoor, and also of course, as the safety aspects comes into play there, of course we can also talk about applications like military or critical infrastructure like oil riches, because it's not flammable. Okay, so far Vigos, the outdoor thing, very good thing on that basis. And then of course, clearly the first question was, when you've got that outdoor, can we do that indoor? Yes, we can. And that's the Cell 3050, that's the indoor system, and the smaller brother of the Vigos. It's basically a power machine with a wide temperature range, high cycle stability. We have got the electronics at the bottom, and we've got the batteries at the top. In that case, that example, it's a 10 kilowatt hour system. What I'm presenting here comes with also inverters and BMS and EMS, plug and play, ready to install. And that's the sizes. For the one-phase system, we are starting with 6 kilowatt hours and scaling up to 20 kilowatt hours. And on the three-phase system, we're starting with 6 kilowatt hours up to 20 kilowatt hours. And you see on the right-hand side, we're talking about C rate 1.5, 0.86. So it's a very strong product providing a lot of power. And that system, of course, can also be then AC coupled, but also DC coupled, and in very similar to the Vigos product I was mentioning beforehand. And the last facet of that technology is then, okay, of course, I mentioned it before, can we use that technology also with other inverters? Yes, you can. Then we will provide to you the carbocap standalone battery packages along with the BMS in our combiner box. Combiner box is basically the battery management software and electronics and the wiring and everything it fuses, that the whole thing is all safe and workable. And you connect that then with the corresponding charging profile to your battery inverter. May it be the SMA, may it be something else. Okay. There's a question. Could be a problem with integration of microinverter PV system with this indoor version? I don't think the microinverter PV system are a problem. I don't see any problem. It needs to be connected into our connection board, and then we should be easy to go on the micro inverter side. Okay, the standalone model starts with 2 kilowatt hours and is scaling it up to 20 kilowatt hours. And that's about it, basically. That's the main topic here. I wanted to present. Thank you very much for your time and participating to us. And what we strongly, as a summary, would like to say, we are talking about safe storage technologies. We love our saltwater products. It's an energy storage system, having the capability, charging the battery wonderfully over time, and have a good round trip efficiency. We have got very wonderful attributes, being the safest and most environmental friendly technology in the world, but it needs some addition, some booster at some point, and therefore we created our Vigos and Cell 3050 products as an addition, which is also safe, can be used in combination with saltwater, but also on a standalone basis if customers are looking for a very strong and a very powerful product, but also a very strong and very temperature resistant product. Okay, so far so good. I would be at my end of the presentation. Do you have got any comments from your ends? Of course, we would be happy to be there for you. We will provide the presentation to you afterwards, and we are happy, of course, being there for you if you've got any further questions to those products. I thank you very much for taking the time being here today, and wish you a great afternoon or evening.